Hey loves, welcome back to another tutorial. Today's video will be learning how to make this beautiful dress. So stay tuned and let's get right into this video. So for this tutorial, I'll be making use of this beautiful crepe fabric. I have 4 yards of fabric here and that is what we are going to be making use of. For our pattern, this is the pattern I'm going to be making use of. This is from an old pattern I drafted earlier. I have the video on my channel. I'm going to put the link in my description box. I'm also going to put it on top of here. So if you've not seen the video, you will go and watch it. As we all know, we are making a one shoulder dress, so we need this pattern to be double, like we need to be a full pattern. So I'm going to get another pattern paper just like you see me doing, so that I'll be able to cut 2 of this. So I'm going to place objects on this and I'm going to cut out exactly what we have. See our zipper allowance on this side, so I'm just cutting everything as it is. Guys, this method is not compulsory. I'm only doing this because this is an old pattern that I'm making use of. So, but if you're drafting a new pattern for this particular style, one shoulder style, you are going to fold your pattern paper into 2 before cutting out, so that when you are done, you just have a full pattern like this. So here, once I was done, I placed my pin on it like so that I'll be able to open it up if I want. So when I open it up, this is what I have, and as you can see, this is what we have. This is the full pattern that I was telling you guys about. So if you are drafting on a new pattern paper, just fold it into 2 and draft. There is no need to just do this thing I did. So now we are going to start with our measurement. As you can see, this is our zipper allowance on the side. I'm going to open this up so that we'll begin to work on this one shoulder dress. So remember, this is our zipper allowance, and because we are going to cut the front first, that's why we folded it in like this. So here I'm going to label this side left and I'm going to label the other side right. So I want my shoulder to be on the left side and the right side will be the off shoulder part. So I'll have that in mind while cutting. So you decide wherever you want yours to be. So now we are going to start measuring. So here on the shoulder, I'm going to mark 1 inch in. As you can see, I marked 1 inch in there. And then here on the center line, this is going to be our center line because it's at the middle. So I'm going to come down by 3.5 inches. I initially came down by 4 inches, but I later changed it to 3.5 because I don't want it to be too deep. I don't want it to go down and show my cleavage. On the right side shoulder, I also came down by 5.5 inches. This is where we are going to have our off shoulder effect. So I came down by 5.5 inches and I'm going to connect all the points together from the left hand shoulder to the 3.5 inches we came down and then the 5.5 inches. So I'm going to use my curve ruler and connect all the points together just like you see me doing. After drawing my curve, I had to smoothen this out so that we will not have a sharp edge, and after that I'll go ahead and cut this off. So this is what we have when I was done cutting, and then the next step now is to cut on the fabric. So I placed my fabric, as you can see, I opened it up like this and I'm going to place this pattern on it and then cut out for the front piece. So I'm going to place objects on this so it doesn't move while I sew, and then I'll proceed to cut it out. So once I was done, I had to notch my dart. Don't forget to notch your dart, guys. After that, I'll go ahead and proceed to cut for the back. So this is how it looks. This is the front. I'm going to set that aside and work on the back piece. So guys, after filming this process, I realized I made a mistake because this back piece now, I went to turn the right side, as you can see, and I also placed the pattern paper on the right side. So after cutting the back piece, it didn't work out, like it didn't match with the one on the front. So you have to turn your pattern paper on the wrong side before cutting, or you turn your fabric on the wrong side. So just read the instruction I left below so you understand what I'm saying. So I removed the pins for the back piece because we are cutting the back piece and we need the zipper allowance. So I'm going to place this on the back like this and then I'm going to proceed to cut. So guys, I was done cutting for the back and this is what we have. Remember, we opened it up because it has a zipper allowance and we need that for the back. And I also notched my zipper allowance and my darts. Don't forget to do that as well. If you have any question, just comment down below. So now we're going to cut on the skirt part. We are going to work on the lower part of this dress. For this particular tutorial, I don't need that on the lower part, so I'm going to eliminate the dart. Remember, we have our dart of 1 inch here. So I measured it out to make sure it is 1 inch. So I'm going to eliminate it here. I marked the same 1 inch and I'm going to remove it. I'll get my curve ruler and then I'm going to draw it back to the hip line as you see me doing. So once I'm done with that, I'll just mark this off and I'll cut it out later. So now to create the curve for the basque effect on the front, we are going to come down by 5 inches on the hip line. So from the hip line, I'm going to come down by 5 inches, just like you see me doing. So I'm going to mark that 5 inches and I'm also going to connect it all the way to the hip line. So from my hip line, I'm going to connect to the 5 inches using my curved ruler. So that is exactly how I'm going to curve it. So if you have any style that you want, if you want yours to be in a triangular shape, you can just mark any style that you want. Any type of curve you want to create, in case you're making another style, you can just do that at this point. So this is how it looks, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. So this is what we have left, and then I'm going to proceed to cut on the fabric. So I folded my fabric into 2 and then I placed this pattern on it like so, and then I'll proceed to cut it off. This is the back piece that I am cutting down. That is why you see my zipper allowance on the side. So I just labeled this zipper allowance so that you guys will know what it is for exactly. So I'll get my scissors now and proceed to cut this off. So once I was done, this is what we have for the back piece, as you can see. So I'm going to just set that aside and proceed to cut the front. So now I'll proceed to cut for the front. So I folded my fabric into 2, as you can see, and then I'm going to place my pattern on it. But because this is the front, I'm going to fold in the zipper allowance just the way you see me doing. After folding it, I'm just going to place it here and then I'll proceed to cut it off. So once I was done, this is what we have. This is the front part. So I'm going to join this all together. So here, this is the upper part of the front and the lower part of the front. So I'm going to just go in and join my dart. Remember, we don't have that for the lower part of the front. We don't have that. So I'm going to join my dart for the front part of the top. And I'm also going to pipe the neckline, just the way you see my hand illustrating. I'm going to use this material I cut out and then just pipe the neckline. After that, I'm going to join the both parts of the front together with using 1/2 inch. So for the back piece, I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to properly arrange this and then I'll join my darts for the upper part of the back. You remember, we don't have darts on the lower part of the back, so I'm not joining any darts. So after joining my darts, I'll go ahead and pipe the neckline as well. So here I was done joining it together, and this is the front part. This is how it looks. I've joined the upper and the lower part of the front together, and I've also joined my darts and piped the neckline just the way you see me doing, and it's looking so neat. I also did the same thing for the back piece. I've joined both the upper and the lower part of the back pieces together. So I've also gone ahead to pipe it as well. I've joined my darts. The only thing remaining for us now is to add our zipper allowance. So this is what we have, and it is looking so neat and it's coming up together. So we'll proceed to the next step now. So the next step now is to join this together. I'm going to join both the front and the back together. We are going to shape this dress now. So I'm going to place the back on this front part, right sides facing each other, just the way you see me doing. I'm going to place them together and then I'll proceed to sew on the side using the allowance that we left earlier. In my case, I'm sewing in 1.5 inch allowance on both sides. So that is exactly what I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to do now. I will join it on the side going in by 1.5 inch on both sides. So once I was done with that, I'll go ahead and show you guys the outcome. So once I was done, this is what we have. I've gone ahead to join both sides together, and this is how it is looking. The next thing now for us to do is to join our gathers at the bottom and then join our zipper. I've also gone ahead to join the shoulder parts together. So now I'm going to measure what I have round the bottom of this dress. So I'm going to use my tape and go all around the bottom of this dress, and anything I get there is what is going to determine the amount of fabric I'll cut out for the gathers. So we all know this is a long dress, and in order to get the full length of the gathers you are going to cut out and the full length of your dress, I'm going to measure what I have here, the full length of this dress. And what I have here, what I got here was 28 inches. So that 28 inches now, the full length of this dress, I want it to be 58 inches. So the 58 inches, I'm going to minus 28 inches, and whatever I have left is the amount of gathers I'm going to cut out. That's the amount of fabric I'll cut out for the gathers. So after minusing 28 inches from 58 inches, I got the measurement I have now for these gathers. And if I measure it out, it is 33 inches. I hope you guys understand this. The width of this gathers part is going to be determined by how you want your gathers to be. If you want your gathers to be very full, then you can do it times 2 or times 3. If you want it to be, not so full, you can just cut accordingly. So here I have for the front and for the back piece, but I want to join it together so that it will just be a long piece of fabric. So I'll go over to my sewing machine and join it together. As you can see here, I've already joined it together. So I'm going to just have a long piece of fabric to gather all around the bottom of this dress. So I'm going to remember, we took the measurement of what we have all around the bottom of this dress. That is exactly how we got the width. Anything you get when you measure all around this fabric, you are going to times it by 2 or 3, depending on how you want your gathers to be. So after doing that, I'm going to proceed to gather this all around this bottom part. So I'll go over to my sewing machine to do that. I'm going to do my gathers manually. I'll be gathering as I'm sewing like I normally do. So you guys will see how I do it. So this is basically a clip of how I do my gathers. As I'm sewing, I'm gathering it with my hand, and this is how I did it all around the dress. So once I was done, this is what we have. I've gone ahead to gather everything all around the dress, as you see. So now the next step for us is to join my zipper. So here I wanted you guys to see the front look. This is how beautiful it is looking. I love it already. So now I'm going to close this up like this, and then I'll get the zip I'm going to use. So this is the zip I want to use because that's the closest green I could find, but I ended up using a nude zip because I just didn't like how the color was like so off. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys the zip I later used. So now I want to cut out the sleeve for this dress. We have a full shoulder and an off shoulder, so I'm going to be cutting for the full shoulder now. So I'm going to be using this sleeve pattern that I have. So I placed it on my fabric. I already folded my fabric into 2, and then I'm going to leave some allowances because we are going to gather this on the top, and then we are going to add elastic to the bottom of this sleeve. So here I'm just adjusting this properly the way I want, and then I'm going to use my tape and measure the sleeve length of this sleeve. So the sleeve length, what I have is 12 inches. I'm going to use 12 inches. I'm also going to add extra 1 inch for allowance because we need this allowance because we are going to hem the base of this sleeve, and we are going to add an elastic, so you don't want your fabric to cut short. So after that, I'm going to measure the width. I just added extra 10 inches to the basic sleeve pattern I have. After tracing it out from the pattern, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So once I was done, this is what we have. This is the sleeve for the shoulder part. So I'm going to notch the middle so it will help us when we are joining. So now I'm going to proceed and cut for the off shoulder part. So this is the sleeve for the off shoulder that we are cutting now. So I folded my fabric into 2 as usual, and I'm going to have like a different measurement for this one. So I'm going to minus 3 inches. You can minus 4 depending on your choice and how low you want yours to be. So I minus 3 inches and I marked 15 inches. So this 15 inches also includes my hemming allowance, so there's no need adding any other extra allowance. For the width of this, I'm going to mark 13 inches for the width. That is how I want mine to be. So remember, this is on fold. When we open it up, it is going to be really long. So after that, I'll get my pattern to trace out the armhole exactly how it is, and then I'm going to proceed to cut it all out. So these are the both sleeves, and I'm going over to my sewing machine to hem the base and the top of the sleeve because we are going to be adding an elastic to them. So here I've hemmed this, and I've also done the same thing for the off shoulder sleeve. And then I'm going to add my elastic now. I'm going to use my safety pin to pass my elastic all the way. So that is exactly what I'm doing now. So once I was done, I will use my pin to pin this before removing my safety pin so I don't lose the elastic. So I'll just go ahead and adjust this the way I want. Just make sure that it is not too tight and it's not too loose. So just make it to be firm and, good the way you want it. After that, I'll also use my safety pin and hold it together, and then I'll cut off the parts that I don't want. So here I've joined my elastic at the top and base of this sleeve, and this is the off shoulder one. So here this is the shoulder sleeve, and I've also done the same thing. I only added at the base. So guys, the next step now is to attach our sleeves to the dress. So I'm going to get this one and place it here. This is for the shoulder parts, and I'm going to gather this all around here as you see me. So I'm also going to get the one for the off shoulder. As you can see, I've added my elastic at the top and the base of the sleeve. So I'm going to place it here, and I'll go over to my sewing machine to join them. I'm going to place it right sides facing each other the way you see me doing, and I'll sew it in by 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Sew it in by 1/2 inch. So for this one, I'm going to just gather it around the armhole, just the way you see me doing. So this is rope that we have on the sleeve. This is the fabric I'm going to use for that. If you check the thumbnail and our dress, you notice that it has a rope on the sleeve. So this is what I'm going to use for mine. So I went ahead to measure it, the width of the rope, and what I have here is 45 inches. This is totally optional. It's not a must you add it to your sleeve. I just like it and how beautiful it was on the dress. So I'm going to fold this and turn to the right side, and then this is what we have. I'll still go over and iron this so it will be more flat. So now I'm going to proceed to add this to the sleeve. So guys, this is what we have for the sleeve. I've gone ahead to join this, and this is how it looks. It looks so beautiful already. So now I'm going to get the rope and find the midpoints. After finding the midpoints, I'll also find the midpoints for the sleeve, and then I'm going to tack it there. You can use your needle and thread to tack it, but I'm going to use my machine to just sew it together. So I'm going to use my pin to hold this together so it doesn't move while we sew. I will do the same thing for the other sleeve, and then I'm going to sew it together. So guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. This gown came out so beautiful. So if you have any questions, please comment down below and I'm going to respond. If you watched this point, thank you so much for stopping by. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please kindly subscribe and turn on your post notifications. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.